Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Voters have approved a nearly $16 million bond to rebuild Summers Middle School. The approval is a slim margin, with the bond passing by fewer than 100 votes. 4,500 ballots were mailed out. Less than a fourth of those were returned. School administrators say the money will allow them to build a school that is safe and it's more modern, that meets the 21st century educational needs. It will also allow them to build a new cafeteria that will include enough room for all students to eat lunch together, as well as to allow space for community get-togethers. Total cost will be about $160 a year on a $200,000 home for taxpayers.
Meanwhile, the Eureka School District is also looking for support, asking their residents to vote on a bond issue of just over $18 million to rebuild the middle and elementary school and repair parts of the high school.
MTN's Jack Ginsburg reports now from Eureka.
On October 20th, ballots were sent to Eureka residents to vote on an $18.1 million bond initiative. The bond would put almost $15 million into building a conjoined elementary and middle school building and put another $3.5 million into replacing the high school's bus barn and auto shop. The two schools would be physically attached to the high school using pod-style classrooms to create a more usable, efficient space.
And so you don't have the traditional hallway space, which cuts down on your square footage, and it cuts down on your maintenance, it cuts down on your cleaning, it cuts down on a lot of things. So overall, you're spending more money on kid education than you are on maintaining a building.
Utter showed me some of the issues with the building, such as leaks, cracks in the roofs and ceilings, and a backup boiler that he says could give out at any time. In 2004, when the new high school was built, the old structure was deemed unsafe and students had to take classes in churches. Utter wants to avoid any distractions to education like that from happening this time around.
I think realistically, if you have a 1929 building, you have to figure that in the next 10 to 15 years, somebody's going to be faced with that problem, and being proactive and making sure that we set it up and not have a very disruptive education process for a couple years while we build.
Of course, with every bond comes the question of how much taxpayers will see their costs go up.
Homeowners whose homes are valued at around $100,000 would be looking at just under $14 a month increase on their property tax, just under $12 for the middle school and elementary bond, and just over $2 for the high school bond. However, if you have kids who attend the Trigo or Fortine middle schools, you would only be paying for the high school bond.
Doing this for our kids seems more logical than putting a Band-Aid on basically a bullet wound is kind of what we have right now. And so we need to do more than just put Band-Aids on it. And so we're looking at building new so that we can have, hopefully something set up for the next 75 years of education here in Eureka.
The ballots have been sent out and the public information meeting has concluded. The future of Eureka's public schools now lies in the hands of the voters. We will have to see on November 7th if the multi-million-dollar bond initiative passes or fails. Reporting here in Eureka, I'm Jack Ginsburg for MTN News.
Under the new plan, the elementary school that was built in 1954 would be torn down, but the historic middle school that was built in 1934 would be repurposed for other uses.
Coming up after the break here on Montana's news station, Crunch Time had hundreds of Helena middle school students taking a coordinated bite out of Montana apples to encourage healthy eating.
And later in sports, Grizz and Lady Grizz fans get an early look at how those teams are shaping up. Very exciting. All ahead here on KPAX.